Hello everyone, welcome to today's lesson. We are going to be looking at worksheet data management, and when we talk about worksheet data management, we are looking at features like how to enter data using forms, how to filter data, sorting data, using subtotaling, and data validation in Excel. So straight to it, we'll look at data entry using forms in Excel. So I have a worksheet here which has some data entered into it, but then as you can see, we can, as it is, we can only type data into these cells one after another, but we can use forms to make data entry into this worksheet here a little bit easier and more convenient. So how do we access the data form? So to add data form into, so that we are able to access it, it is supposed to be available here at the quick access toolbar. So in order to do that, we'll add it here so that when we look at this point, we are able to see the form icon. So to add the form icon, we click on this small arrow which gives us a menu headed customize quick access toolbar. So once we are there, we click the more commands. You see this one here, you click the more commands, and we have this window opening up. So once that window has opened up, you can see that what is listed here are just popular commands, but we want all the commands. So you select all commands, and once all commands has been selected, we scroll down to this icon form with those three dots. I select it and click the add button. Once I have clicked the add button and I press OK, then you can see I have a new icon at the quick access toolbar, and this is now the form icon. So I have added it, but then now that I have added it there, I have the form icon. How do I get to use it to enter data into my worksheet? So you will have to select this set of data, this range of cells that contain data, so that I may be able to add some more records, one or two records below Jenny. But before I do that, I have to select this range of cells that contains the data and then press on the form icon. And once I do that, you can see how my form looks like. So the titles there are name, maths, physics, and CRE, and the first record that I have is Ken. I can flip through the records using the next, find next, find next, find next, and my intention is to add a new record. So I will go here and add a new record, and say the new guy that I'm trying to add here is called Derek, for example. Derek scored 78 in maths. Eric scored 89 in physics, but Derek only got 54 in CRE. So that is a new record. If I want to add another one, and you can see straight away after adding Derek's record, it has come down here. So instead of having those number of records I was having before, it's a new one here. So let me add another one. Martha is another person who started the exam in maths. Martha scored 64. he also scored 37 in physics and scored 98 in CRE. So I have that. So once I have that, and once I click out of it, you can see Martha is already there. So once I am done entering the data, I'll just close that form like that, and you can see right there I have Derek and Martha, and I was able to flip through these records using the form. When if I want to do that again, I'll just come here and select it and click on form, and there they are. I have the previous one. There's no previous record because I'm on the first record. So I'll go to next. Ken, Wayne, Elsie, Liz, Sly, Kate, Jenny, Derek, and Martha, and that is the last record according to my selection. So I cannot go any further. I can go back just like that. So this is how to use forms to access and manipulate data in Excel. The next thing we want to look at on worksheet data management is how to sort data. So sorting of data is the arrangement of data in some sequential order, either in ascending order or descending order. And in order to do that, you will have to highlight the range of data that you wish to sort. So in this case, assuming I wanted to sort these candidates, but before I do that, let me give Derek and Martha some positioning. Rank everybody like that. So I have ranked everybody. So after ranking everybody, I now want to sort so that this data is displayed in some order. So the data that I want to sort is this one here. So I select the data that I want to sort. Then after selecting or the range of data that I want to sort, I will click on the data ribbon. So click on the data ribbon, and then once you click the data ribbon, these groups of commands, you have command groups here, command groups here. But what do we want to do? We want to do sorting. So I will go to the sort ribbon. So there is this sort ribbon here. So I'll just click on it, and once I click on it, in the sort dialog box that appears, I will have to choose the column I want to use to sort them. So I want to sort them using which column? The position column. So that then I will use the cell values, of course, to sort them. So in the position column, I'm sorting them based on the cell values, and the order is the smallest to the largest. So position number 1 should be at the top, and then position number 10 should be at the bottom. So I will just click on that like that, and look at that nicely. So Sly is number 1, and Sunny here is number 10, and that is how you perform data sorting. Next, I want us to do what we call data filtering. Data filtering here means that I can command the worksheet to only display a specific kind of data that obeys a certain rule that I will provide. For example, I want this one here to show me, for example, only those who scored A. So how can I do that? So I will want to select one cell in the list that I want to be filtered. Then on the data ribbon, already I'm on the data ribbon there. So in the sort and filter group, I will go and this time round click on filter button with this one, which looks like a funnel here. So I click on it. Once I have clicked on it, then there is an arrow in this column that contains the data that I want to filter. So then I will click on this arrow here. Once I've clicked onto the arrow, then I'm told to sort A to Z, blah, blah, but I want to do a filter. So what do I want to filter? I want to show only those guys that have scored an A. So I will say okay, and you see that we have 5 guys who have scored A, and I can see them. So if I wanted to print a list of those guys who scored an A, for example, I'll just filter using this grade column here, and the list of these 5 guys will be displayed to me, and I can therefore print them. If I wanted to see those guys who scored B only, I just come there and say B, and you can see Martha and Jenny are the only 2 who scored B from that list. Then if I wanted to see how many people failed in this class, then I will come there and click on fail. So I'm now filtering using fail, but then from which column? The column is grade. So only one person scored fail, and that is Sunday. So that is how we do filtering. That's how we do filtering. So I have now gone back to where I was before I started filtering of data. So we can actually display the kind of data that we want. Now Excel is a very powerful tool that you can use to do a lot of things. You can use Excel to do a lot of things. So let us look at subtotals and grand totals. This is also another way of managing data using Microsoft Excel worksheet. So how do we use subtotals? So in the subtotals and the totals, I will use this sheet 2 here. This is where we kind of summarize the worksheet data so that we get a very clear picture of what is happening. For example, I have a list here of some guys called Stephen, Joyce, and Virginia, who owes somebody some money. They owe me some money. So they come and borrow money at different amounts of money at intervals. Now at a given point, I want to know how much money does Stephen owe me in total, and how much money does Joy and Virginia owe me in total. So how do I do that? So in order to do that, you need to first sort the data into ascending or descending order. So you must first sort data. So what I will do, I will click a cell in the list here. So I will start by sorting. So I will click a cell in the list, sort. I will come here and select the data that I want to sort, click sort, and then I want to sort it by the name column. Which column do I want to use? Name column. Then I'm going to use the cell values. In which order? A to Z, in ascending order. So then I just say okay, the data is sorted. So I have Joy, Stephen, Virginia. So the names of the guys who owe me money have been sorted in that order. After doing that, I will click a cell in this list. Then I will go to data ribbon again. In the data ribbon, there is the outline group. In the outline group, I will click on subtotal. After I click subtotal, there is this the subtotal dialog box that appears. Now here, the first thing that I want to set, the first property I want to set is at each change in. So how do I want to classify them? Do I want to classify them by the amount owed or by the name? So there are different deals that owe money. So it only makes sense that I classify them according to the name. So at each change in name, so I'll select at each change in name. At each change in name, I get a subtotal. At each change in name, I get a subtotal. That is what it means. At each change in name, I get subtotal. So then, which function will I use? I use the sum function because I want to sum them up. I want to sum them up. I want to get the total, add what Joy owes and what Joy owes to get how much in total does Joy owe me, for example. So I'll use the sum function. And what am I adding? Am I adding the names or I'm adding the amount they owe? I am adding the amount that they owe me, so I will check amount owed. Then I will click OK. And once I click OK, look at what I have. Look at what I have. I have Joy and Joy put together, and you sum up what Joy owes me, and the total for them, subtotal for them is 3800. Stephen, what Stephen owes in total is 8200. Virginia, and the total that Virginia owes me is 5000 plus 5000 gives me 10,000, and the grand total for all the money that they owe me is 22,000. And that is how we use the subtotals and grand totals. The last thing that I want us to look at on worksheet data management is input validation. Input validation is important so that when we have created, for example, a form for users to enter data, then we can restrict the kind of data that is being entered into a given cell. For example, if I had this kind of cell here, in these cells, all that I expect is for the users to enter numeric values. So for example, if I selected, so you have to select the range of cells in which you want to insert the validation rules. So I want to insert the validation rules here so that the user cannot enter non-numeric value. So I will highlight it, and then on the data ribbon I will go to the data tools group, this group here, data tools group. So once I'm in this data tools group here, I will click on the data validation button like that. So once I click on data validation button, I have a validation criteria. So do I allow any value to be input? No, I want to only allow numeric values. So I can allow decimal numbers, I can allow text length, date, or whole number, assuming that in this case I only want to allow a whole number. So I will say a whole number, and then the data must be between. So you cannot have somebody that owes you nothing. So the data, I want to only capture guys who owe me 500 bob and above 100 bob up to, I will only be giving loans up to 100,000, for example. So any value that is out of that range will not be accepted. So I say okay. Now let's come here. If I try to enter, for example, 0, what happens? See, this value does not match the data validation restrictions defined for this cell. So, but then that one is an error message. You know that you have entered the wrong value, but it does not tell the user what kind of data is expected to be entered in that cell. So in order to display some relevant message to the user, I can insert what is called input message. So I will still select the cells where I want to put the restrictions, so that and that. Then I will come and click data validation. Of course, I had set the validation criteria, so I will go to input message and then say the title can be invalid input, and then I'll tell the user enter a number between 100 to 100,000, for example. So give a warning to the user. Good. So once I have entered the input message, you can see once I highlight that particular cell, the input message is displayed. See, input message is displayed. Enter number between this and that. So if I try to enter, for example, 40 here, what will I see? The value doesn't match the data validation restriction defined for this cell. If I enter the correct range of value, then things are just fine. There is no problem at all. So this is what we call data validation, and up to that point we'll stop this lesson, and goodbye everybody, and thanks.